There we go.
And we're live. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Joyful and grateful.
Figured that. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning from beautiful Clearwater, Florida. I'm Brian LeBlanc, and lean in.
I don't want to lean in. I'm still Maureen. I'm Maureen every week.
And over here is hard-headed Maureen. She doesn't really like the camera, so...
Camera doesn't like me either.
Yeah. But then we have a very, very special guest, and not just a guest. She's a dear friend of ours. Her name is Linda Burhans. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning, my friend.
How are you?
Joyful and grateful, and I love that shirt you have on.
Why, thank you. I'm trying to promote the longest day. Hint, hint.
Hint,
Whoop.
hint.
There we go.
Very good.
Coming up on June 20th, I'll talk a little bit about that towards the end. But right now, it's all about you. So, Linda Burhans, she's a national speaker and radio show host dedicated to the mission of caring for caregivers. As she says, I'm the gal who cares for caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned. That's quite a few L's.
Yeah.
Her caregiving journey began in 2006 when her mother moved from New York to Florida. Shortly after, her mother was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. This was not the plan, and this is something Linda hears from caregivers daily. As an expert in caregiver advocacy, Linda has facilitated over 1,500, that's 1500, support groups, speaking engagements, and workshops for caregivers. She shares lessons learned and coping tools with thousands of caregivers who attend her events or read her work. Her weekly radio show, Tips for Caregivers, and blogs provide expert guidance on resources and best practices for caregivers all over the United States. We've been fortunate enough to be on your program several times, and we're looking forward to the next one. Hint, hint.
Okay.
In her book, Goodnight and God Bless, Linda welcomes readers to join her on her emotional, rewarding, and sometimes frustrating journey as caregiver to her beloved mother, Jo McCauley, during the final 18 months of her life. The book offers inspirational messages of unconditional love, loss, joy, sorrow, and a healthy dose of humor for those caring for aging parents. Humor is definitely a necessity.
Definitely.
Let's see.
Enough.
I just lost my
Enough. We're good.
Okay. All right. I was going to keep going, but that would leave us only about 5 minutes to talk about stuff. So
don't lose the question.
Oh yeah, I got to open the questions.
Okay.
Wow, there's 17 questions.
No, there isn't.
Just kidding. So, Linda, all right. First of all, any projects you have going right now?
I always have projects going on. If it's not journaling workshops for caregivers, I have a new one on June 7th. It's actually a journaling bereavement workshop for people that have lost someone. Because you find out you just go all these different ways.
Right.
And as you know, we're still preparing for the big caregiver conference in November, 3 days.
Right.
Tam Cummings, the gerontologist and the author of Untangling Dementia, will be the keynote speaker. You guys will be speaking. You know me, I'll be speaking all day long. Very excited about all the caregivers we can reach. Very excited about this program and all the different things we have today to reach caregivers. When the COVID first hit, I was doing support groups live, and I thought, I don't know about Zoom. I don't know if I'm going to feel comfortable with that. Well, it's turned out to be fabulous because now there are caregivers in the support group from all over the United States and Canada, people that didn't have a support group near them, people that didn't have someone to care for their loved one. So I think that was one of the gifts of COVID, but I look forward to doing some live ones again too.
Yeah. The live broadcast are, I think it's more impactful because they're seeing it in real time. They're not seeing a recording.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a difference.
Plus, it's great when you tell a joke and you can hear some people laughing.
Exactly. Excuse me. So let's get to the questions.
Okay.
What led you to become a caregiver advocate?
Really, I think God led me. So my mom, I moved down to Florida in 2000 from Long Island, in case you can't tell. And always been very close with my mom and would go back, every 2-3 months to visit her, and finding she was becoming more isolated in her home, not going to all her church meetings, not a lot of good food in the refrigerator. So we all tried to convince her, myself and my sisters and brother, to move by one of us. My mother was very stubborn, but through intervention, in the end, my mom ended up moving to Florida. Woohoo!
There you go.
She moved here in June of 2006, and our adventure was to begin. And then in October of 2006, she was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. Not the deal.
Yeah.
Well, so my mom, they wanted my mom to try some chemotherapy, and my sisters didn't think it was a good idea, nor did I, but my mom wanted to try it. So we did like 2 rounds. And my mom was out like a light, and we decided, nah, this is not good. But my mom also had dementia. But I didn't know my mother had dementia at the time because I was focused on cancer. And my mom was a little goofy like me. So some stuff, I just blew it off or whatever. But when we stopped doing the chemo, the dementia served my mother very well because she told everyone she was cured. Now, I don't know if she thought she was cured, she wanted to be cured, or she wanted everybody else to think she was cured. But you know what you put in your head. And we had this fabulous year where I was with her every single day, except one day they wouldn't let me bring her to jury duty. And it was funny. I used to, my mom went everywhere with me. So I would take her networking with me. And, you get up and you do your little commercial. And my mom would stand up and she'd say, "Hi, my name is Joe. I'm Linda's mother. I just moved here from New York. And I just want to find a man with a lot of money that just wants to be my friend." And everybody would be like, "Get in line behind me."
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So we really had a fabulous 18 months where she was hardly sick, where she made up with people she needed to make up with. We went to places she wanted to go. And then she became very ill. And I moved into Freedom Square with her. And I tucked her into bed one night. And she said to me, "Goodnight and God bless," which she said a million times before. But I thought that was going to be the last time. And I went in the living room. I prayed, "Dear God, just give me a little longer." And when she woke up the next morning, she looked good. So I started writing my book, Goodnight and God Bless. And I wrote through the last 3 weeks of her life and my grieving process. And then I reconstructed our adventure from the year before from my calendar and my journals. And somebody wanted to publish the book. Well, the book's published, and I go out to promote the book. And every single time, people come up to me crying, saying they need help. Everything changed.
Yeah.
Because when I cared for my mother, nobody told me about anything. Nothing. And I'm not a dumb bunny. But I didn't find out what respite care was till I was in my bereavement group. I remember one time I wanted to go to this wedding, but I didn't know that I could have someone care for my mother. So I started getting a lot of education, and here we are. Here we are, 4 years for the radio show, the Tuesday Tips, and I am just delighted to bring any education and heart to the caregivers, because caregiving is tough, and we run around this little tornado. And I think, most of the times when I speak, a large portion of the audience cries, and they laugh too, of course. But when I see those tears, I know they're feeling their heart. And when they feel their heart, they do the right thing. And I think it's so, so important.
You know, you talk about laughter. I do that when I speak also, because what we're talking about is, you know, first I want to say it's not a laughing matter.
Right.
However, laughter sort of eases the tension, and you know, especially when I'm talking about myself and all the stuff that I go through and what Maureen goes through, and then I'll say something funny, and it takes a couple of times before they really start laughing, because you can see them looking at each other like, well,
did he really say that?
Yeah, should we laugh? Is it wrong to laugh? Of course, it's not wrong to laugh.
No. And I'll tell you, caregivers do some pretty funny things.
Yes, they do.
And when you can laugh at it, it just changes everything. I hear laughter everywhere over there.
I'm just thinking about the book I'm going to write about all the funny things people living with dementia do.
Yeah. It's fabulous.
I
don't have dementia, and you can write a book of the funny things I do every day.
That should be a bestseller. You know? Just saying.
Yeah, maybe we need to go on the road, Brian.
Hey, that's not a bad idea.
That'd be fun.
All right. Next question. What is your mission?
It's to give that education to the caregivers and to help them find their heart. And I think the education is the biggest part of all, because it makes the journey easier. I want caregivers to know that they're not alone.
Right.
And that there are tons of resources out there, and that they can come to me for anything. And if I don't have the answer, I know somebody who does. You know, I have you, I have Maureen, I have the whole community of people that want to make a difference, of people that want to make the caregiving experience better for the caregiver and their loved one.
Right.
As you say, the care partners, they're a team. So
well, that's the truth. I have so many friends that, you know, they lean on each other. And I guess that we feel comfortable doing that. They feel comfortable doing that, because who else better understands what it's like to live with a dementia-related illness or any type of illness.
Right.
Talk to that person, and they're going to give you a straightforward answer as to how it really is. We know how it is, and you know.
Every single person wants to be acknowledged. Every single person wants to be part of it. Just because the person has some kind of cognitive impairment or whatever it is, everybody wants to be part of it. Everybody wants to be acknowledged. And we have so much to say, because many times people stop talking to the person that has cognitive impairment, or they talk to them differently. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And I believe with all my heart that a lot of times when a person living with dementia stops talking, it's because people stop talking to them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yesterday we were at a memory care unit, and I sat with 4 different ladies, and you know, honestly, I couldn't understand most of what they were saying to me. It didn't matter. It mattered that my facial expressions, because they watched my face like a hawk.
Right.
And they watched to see how I was reacting to them. I asked permission before. I try to always remember, I'm never perfect with this. I try to always remember to ask permission to touch someone. Is it okay if I put my hand on your arm or your shoulder?
Right.
And it's amazing. All 4 of these ladies, when I asked the question, smiled and said yes. They wanted to be touched.
Yeah, who doesn't want to be touched?
Right.
Who doesn't want to be touched and talked to?
And as long, you know, one lady was saying that she was afraid that they were going to murder her. And I knew that no matter what I said, that was still going to be in her head. So instead, what I chose to do was to say, do you feel safe right now? Do you feel safe right now? And I knew that a minute, 2 minutes after I was gone, that was going to be gone. But I thought if I could give her a few minutes of feeling safe.
Yes. Yes.
Another lady told me the whole story about her and her brother in England. I don't know what they were doing there, but so I love connecting with people.
Yeah. You know, I remember one time a friend of mine, Carol Mackenzie.
Oh, Carol! Yay, Carol!
And she used to go to communities and bring games and things for people with cognitive impairment to play and whatever. And they would have like a big parachute. They'd all sit around in a circle, just all different fun stuff. And there was one woman in this community that they would bring her every time, and she just sat in the chair and she barely opened her eyes, but she just sat in that chair. Well, they kept bringing her time and time again. People started going over and chatting with her, and then they found out that she liked horses. So every time they went after that, Carol brought her a horse, whether it was a stuffed animal, whether it was a statue, whatever it was. And this went on for probably like 2 months. And then one day we're all out there and everything, and somebody said something about a horse, and the woman raised her horse.
Oh.
Oh, I got goosebumps just saying it now. She was in the conversation.
It's the little things that you may not think that they can understand things as far as the conversation goes. And, you know, I have to admit that sometimes if I'm one-on-one with someone, I can usually understand everything. But if there's 5 or 6 people or more, and you're trying to have a conversation with one person, but then you hear all the other stuff going on around, and that's sort of when I start to shut down, because I know
it's too much.
What's that?
It's just too much.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I don't shut down on purpose. It's sort of like my natural
defense mechanism.
Yeah, defense mechanism to keep myself in the moment.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But you know that and you acknowledge that.
Yes. Now
that makes a big difference.
Sometimes I'll have to ask Maureen later, did something happen to me, like when, you know, I don't know how to explain, but I just
out a little bit or whatever.
Yeah. I'm always asking her questions to tell me what happened, because in my mind I'm saying, oh, well, okay, I got this. I won't do that again. Well, you know how that works. And it's just the care partner in this sense. You know, I always rave about Maureen. Yes, I give her a bunch of stuff. I'll be politically correct. And I cause her to get frustrated and things of that nature. But she's always there. She never
it's because you hid the car keys and I can't find them.
That's my defense mechanism. No cars, no travel. You know? Oh no, Brian, come on. I'm going to take you to Disney World. And next thing you know, I'm being dropped off in Miami somewhere.
Never.
Not Miami. I wouldn't drive that far.
And she wouldn't stop.
Hey, Maureen, just bring him over to my house. I'll take him for a couple of days.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll bring him over on Thursdays. There's all these women that want him one day a week. I need to start charging.
Yeah. Well, never mind. I won't. Okay. Anyway, I don't mean to laugh for that, but what is the most important thing that care partners need to know?
number one is that they're not alone. And number two, that it's okay to ask for help, to accept help. It's something I call the AAA dilemma. Caregivers don't ask for help, they don't accept help, and they don't acknowledge themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I can do it. 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 They go around in this tornado. I could do it. But I think what happens is, people would come up and say, "Is there anything I can do to help you?" And every time the caregiver goes, "No, I'm okay."
Mm-hmm.
It's so full of baloney.
Right.
I think part of the reason is because they can't even focus on what you could help them with. Now you just gave them one more thing to think about. What, are you going to bathe my mother? So I suggest to caregivers to take a little bit of time to sit down and write a list of some things you can accept help with. So then when your neighbor comes over, your friend from church or whoever it is, you pull out your list. They go, "Mow your lawn? I'd love to mow your lawn. I've been asking you for 9 months."
Yeah.
Really. And just accept that help and just say thank you. Because people want to help when they know. Whether you have a disease or anything, if it's just your neighbor. If people know, they want to help. And I did that whole thing. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay too. And after my mom passed away, I met a friend in the supermarket. And she said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm okay." She said, "Linda, I'm sick of hearing that from you." She said, "I have to tell you, when you took care of your mother, you stole my joy." I said, "What?" She said, "I could see you swimming in quicksand, and every time I asked to help you, you said, 'No, I'm okay.'
Yeah.
And you never even gave me an opportunity to get to know your mother." Oh. So if that's the thing that gets it through to your heads, caregivers, think about that. Don't steal someone's joy. And as much as we think, "I'm the bomb caregiver, only I can do it, nobody knows like I do," I think many times your loved one is saying under their breath, "You think you could get away for a couple hours and let me see another face?"
Don't laugh at that.
Oh, sorry.
Well, a woman contacted me one time and she said, "I've been listening to you for a long time, Linda." She goes, and it got to the point where I couldn't really go out much with my husband. His behavior was terrible. She said, "But I want to go to church." She goes, "I gave up everything else, but I still want to go to church." She said, "My neighbor's always asking if he could help me out. And he's Jewish." So I went over and I said, "Do you think you could hang out with my husband when I go to church on Sunday?" He said, "I would love to do that." She said, "The first Sunday I went to church, I came back right after church and they said, 'Go away. We're playing now dominoes. We don't need you here.'" So now every Sunday morning, she gets 3 hours. Go to church, have a chill, whatever. Her husband is so happy to see somebody else.
Yeah.
The neighbor is so happy to see his friend. So people want to know. People want to share. People want to help. We have to remember that. Don't isolate yourself, caregivers.
Well, and you bring up another good point. Because of the fact that people that are living with a dementia-related illness or some other sickness or illness, they need some interaction, okay? But if you have the caregiver or care partner, I don't know why I'm saying
I do it all the time.
But you have your care partner there with you all the time. And sometimes the care partner needs to get out.
Yeah.
And see another face except for who they care for.
Yeah.
That goes the same way, is that sometimes we need to get out and so forth. Like we were sitting up last night and discussing what we were going to do today. And we were like, "Well, what do you want to do?" "I don't know. What do you want to do?" And I know she loves to get out and go look at, the little shops in St. Petersburg and so forth. I said, "Well, I'll tell you what." I said, "Why don't we go to lunch, have some lunch, and then I stopped because I didn't know what else to do." And she says, can we go to those shops and look around? And I said, yes, because I enjoy that too.
Right.
So if you can think of activities that the care partner and the person they're caring for can both enjoy with the same amount of joy, then do it.
Yeah.
Okay, but let me ask a question. What do you do when the person who you're providing support for refuses to go anywhere and or argues, fights, bitches if you're not going to be there?
I think after a while, you give them the opportunity to go. If they don't want to go, I think the care partner needs to give themselves a break and go. And I think as long as there's someone caring, for their loved one, they may be a little stubborn about it, but maybe after a little bit, because they may feel nervous because they so rely on you that if you're not there, what if something happens and they, so I think just gently and with love, and maybe you do something where there are 4 people together, let's say 2 couples, okay? Well, then after a while, maybe the 2 ladies can just scoot out for a walk or whatever, and the 2 guys are together, and before you know it, it's cool. If you know what I mean.
Yep, I do. And I also know that the care partner that's providing the support needs to keep their tank full.
Yes.
And so even if the person who needs support feels mad or bad or sad or even a little scared, it's okay for them to go fill their tanks because they know they're going to give better support and care when they get back. And the person will get over it.
Yeah, most definitely. And what I say to caregivers is, if you don't take care of yourself, this may sound a little harsh, but if you don't take care of yourself, you're doing injustice to your loved one.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because what if something happens to you? Then what happens? Because even though many of us do have a plan, if something happens to us, we don't think nothing's ever going to happen to us. If you don't take care of yourself, that could happen. I see it every day.
Well, yeah. I mean, we have plans put in place, so that if something, God forbid, should something happen to her, Maureen,
good old what's your name?
Yeah,
I'll never forget.
Oh yeah, the other this sidebar here.
Yeah.
The other day, I was calling someone. I don't know who it was, and they said, well, who does this for you? And this, I said, it's my care partner. And they said, well, what is her name? And so I said, it's Maureen. And then she goes, what is her last name? I forgot what the woman who loves me, cares for me, and does every possible thing that she's capable of doing for me, and I forgot her last name.
But how often do you use it?
Yeah, I was gonna say he rarely says, Maureen Rulison, where are you?
Yeah, it's like if anybody's looking for Lynn Thornley, we know it's Lynn Thornley. It's always Lynn Thornley. But you're not saying Maureen Rulison.
That bothered me.
It hurt your heart a little bit.
Yeah. But and another thing I found out, that my days of putting things together, they're over. Because I was trying to put together this chair that I'm sitting in right now. Maureen got some new office furniture, and I couldn't even put the chair together. I was following the directions, and I just sat there trying to put the little casters on underneath. Couldn't do it because I couldn't figure it out. So we had some guys come over and put the stuff together, and within it felt like 2 seconds, he's got the wheels on the chair. And I walked in and I said, how did you do that? And he goes, oh, well, you just have to, you got to put it in, you got to hit it with your hand and everything. I said, I did that. And my hand hurt for 2 days.
Yeah.
That's
why you let somebody else do it.
I say
I'm not doing that anymore.
that's why God lets people who get older have more money so you can pay people to do things.
And you know what? Some things you just have to accept. You know, I can't really pick up a case of water anymore. With my wrist or whatever. So even if somebody puts a case of water in my trunk, I can't carry the whole case out. I got to take out like 5 at a time. I kind of don't like it, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the purpose for your loved one.
Okay. Just as we spoke about earlier, everybody wants to fit in. Everybody wants to be acknowledged. Everybody wants a purpose. Everybody wants to wake up in the morning with some sort of purpose. And I find that many times people find it a really difficult time finding a purpose for their loved one that has Alzheimer's and dementia.
Mm-hmm.
So, for an example, a woman used to be in my support group. She said, my mother drives me crazy. She follows me around the house all day long, all day long, all day long. If she would just sit down for 2 hours, it would make so much difference in my day. So I went and I met with her mom, and her mom used to be a teacher. Mom's like 90-something. So first we talked about all the rotten kids, and then we talked about how the teachers are so underpaid. And then we decided that she could help the teachers. So every Monday they give her a big piece of, what do you call that, board paper?
Poster board.
Poster board. And magazines. I say, Mama, next week the teachers are going to teach the children about flowers. So we need you to cut all the flowers out of these magazines and glue it on the poster board, and you can't have any white spots. And it takes her like 2 hours a day, 5 days a week to complete it. Well, she actually started bringing it to the school. And then kids started sending thank you notes. And you know what? You can tell her next week it's flowers again, or it's vegetables, or it's buildings, or whatever it is. But she has a purpose.
Right.
You know, another woman used to work in an office. They bought her a file cabinet. And they ask her to file every day. She goes to bed at night, they double them all out, they mix them up or whatever, but she feels she's comfortable with that. Right. Another one was a banker. She puts rolls of coins together. So we have to think, what did our person do before? What did they like to do? And how can we manage that in some way? And when we do, oh my goodness. There was one man and this man didn't even have cognitive impairment, but his wife passed away. And his daughter came back to the support group and she said, ever since my mom passed away, my dad just sits in the chair. They were married for 67 years. They did everything together. She said, I didn't know what to do. I took him to the doctor. They gave him an antidepressant. But Linda, he's still just sitting in that chair. Well, years ago, he used to build these big model ships. So I said, could he still do that? She said, no, his hands are a little arthritic. I said, you want to try something? She said, I'll try anything. I said, go to Michael's craft store. They have these cars that are like 6 pieces, wooden, the kids put together. I said, buy a dozen of those. And I asked Dad, could he possibly paint these and put them together for the nursery school that really needs them? Before you know it, he was making dozens of boats and cars and shipping them to schools and Skyping and dropping them off at nursery schools. And every day, get up, he's got his purpose to make his cars and boats. I said to her, that must have got a little bit expensive, though, paying for all that stuff. She says, Linda, it was cheaper than the antidepressant.
Yeah, that's true.
Win-win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just think it's important to find a purpose for everybody.
Right. And that's difficult sometimes without the help of the care partner. And Maureen does that for me. She gives me purposes to, she can tell when I'm starting to drift down.
Right.
And she'll come out and she'll talk to me and ask me how I'm doing, if something hurts, and so forth. I know that but I always thank care partners. I don't know them, all of them. I know quite a few, but I always thank them because, and I tell them, I said, even though the person you're caring for can't express their gratitude, I'm doing it for them. And I hope that later on
is going to be just fine.
Someone will give Maureen $1 million.
You put out there, Brian, you know that you get back. And maybe not on the exact day you expect it. But God takes care of us that take care of others. You and Maureen and me and everybody else. But we can talk about this, and this is so important because there are many people that are not talking about this.
they're scared to talk about it.
Yeah.
But I want him to start putting it out there that someone gave Maureen $1 million. Don't just let it hang.
Yeah, really.
But why would you want to? Would I get some of that?
Sure, I'll give you half.
Really?
Sure, you don't know.
She'll give you a bunch of $20 bills. Say, here you go, Brian.
So talk about what
got.
we're doing on the longest day.
Yeah, let's talk about the longest day.
And you see, I'm wearing my shirt because the month of June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. And what we're trying to do is that we live in Clearwater, which is right outside of Tampa. St. Petersburg, sorry. And there is, what's the name of the bridge?
Sunshine Skyway Bridge.
The Sunshine Skyway Bridge. And when they put it all together, they have these lights that frame the bridge. But for like 4th of July, they'll turn it red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
For Christmas, they'll do it red and green. Well, we're doing a campaign to ask the mayor of St. Petersburg if he would help us turn the bridge purple for Alzheimer's Awareness Day
on June 20th, the longest day.
It's so fabulous. It's so fabulous. So what can people do to get into that with us? How do they get on board?
If they go to We Are Dementia Strong's Facebook page, I've put a picture of the bridge lit up purple, and I've put step-by-step instructions how to ask the mayor's office to do this. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. And I'll be out there with you on the 20th.
And there's also on my my Facebook page where if they can't, we're going to do a lot of stuff going up to that.
Right.
But if they're not able to partake in that, they can also contribute to a fundraiser. Not for me, as I say, I do today what I do, not for myself, but for others that may come behind me.
Right.
And so they can contribute to that. It's on my Facebook page, and you just have to click a link and donate whatever you can, and that would help.
Well, Linda, we thank you so very, very much for being with us today. I know you got to get to your radio show.
I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
We'll talk to you soon in person.
Have a delicious day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.